It was a cold autumn evening. Isabella, the young and beautiful fiancée of successful businessman Alejandro Morales, was leaving an expensive boutique, holding a box with her wedding dress. She walked down the street, lost in thoughts about the upcoming celebration, when she suddenly heard a quiet sob. Turning around, she saw a boy of about 8, thin, wearing an old jacket and torn shoes. He sat by the wall, clutching an old plush toy to his chest. Isabella approached him. "Why are you alone? Where are your parents?" The boy silently looked up at her with huge light gray eyes. And in that moment Isabella's heart froze. Those eyes, they were exactly like Diego's, Alejandro's son who had died 3 years ago in a car accident. The same lashes, the same gaze, a mixture of fear and trust. "What's your name?" she whispered. Barely breathing, he replied softly, "Mateo." Isabella crouched down, feeling her chest tighten. She knew it was impossible, but the longer she looked, the more her hands trembled. Just then, a car pulled up. Out stepped Alejandro, tall and reserved, her fiancé. "Isa. What's wrong?" She looked up at him, her voice trembling. "Alejandro, he looks like your son." Alejandro froze, looked at the boy, and something in his face changed. He turned pale, his lips quivered. "That can't be," he whispered, staring into the same eyes that used to greet him every day after work. The boy looked away, confused, not understanding why the adults stared at him with such horror and pain. Isabella felt it, this meeting wasn't a coincidence. Something invisible connected the three of them in that moment. Night. Alejandro and Isabella sat in their car by the roadside, where they had found the boy. Rain drummed against the windshield. The wipers squeaked lazily. Both were silent. "You realize it's just a coincidence," Alejandro finally said, staring straight ahead. "A coincidence?" Isabella echoed quietly. "Alejandro, he has the same eyes. The same dimple on his chin. Even the way he walks, I saw it when he crossed the street." Alejandro tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "My son is dead. I saw his body. I buried him." Each word came out with effort, as if cutting his throat. Isabella looked at him with pain. "I'm not saying it's him, but maybe you should at least find out who the boy is." The next morning Isabella returned to the same place. Mateo was gone. She asked the vendors and passers-by, but no one knew him. Only an old woman at the bus stop said, "He's often around here. Sometimes sleeps in the basement of that old house on Sadavia Street. Quiet boy. They say he ran away from his grandpa's house." Isabella went there. In the basement she found a cold little shelter, boxes, an old mattress, a torn child's drawing on the wall. It showed a man and a boy holding hands, with a clumsy inscription, "Dad will come back." Isabella froze. A chill ran down her spine. That evening she told Alejandro everything. He listened silently, then suddenly stood up and put on his coat. "Let's go." "Where?" "To Sadavia." They found the basement. Empty, only the drawing remained. Alejandro picked it up and stared at it for a long time. Then he said quietly, "My son had the same handwriting. Even the same crooked letters." Isabella gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "Maybe fate is giving you a second chance." He looked at her, lost and pained. "If only I could bring it all back." As they left the alley, Isabella stopped abruptly. At the other end of the street, under a dim streetlight, stood Mateo. He was watching them, soaking wet, clutching his toy. Then suddenly he ran off. "Mateo, wait!" Isabella shouted, chasing after him, but the boy disappeared into the dark alleys. In the following days, Alejandro couldn't find peace. He kept staring at the child's drawing he had taken from the basement, the lines, the uneven letters, as if someone had deliberately copied his son's hand. Or maybe it wasn't a copy at all. Isabella tried to calm him. Maybe he saw Diego's photo somewhere. Maybe he's just imitating him. But Alejandro couldn't shake the feeling that the truth was near, and he just didn't want to face it. One morning he went to the orphanage the old woman had mentioned. The tired director, a woman in her 50s, looked wary. Mateo? Yes, he was with us. Quiet, withdrawn. Came 3 years ago, no papers, no parents. Said his dad promised to come back. Then he ran away last week. Alejandro turned pale. 3 years ago? Are you sure? Yes. In winter. We found him on the highway, half frozen, in a child's jacket. No note, no phone. Alejandro felt his pulse pounding in his temples. 3 years ago, the exact time of Diego's accident. He took out a photo. Diego, smiling, holding the same plush toy. The director gasped. Oh my God. It's like looking at the same child. Alejandro left the orphanage in a state of near madness. He called Isabella. I'm doing a DNA test. I have to know. Alejandro, if it's not him, I'll